I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new series here on AfterBuzz TV called Quarantine with the Stars. Obviously, all of us know it's a crazy time in America and all around the world right now, but we are still here at AfterBuzz TV bringing you your favorite content. And this series is going to be really exciting. We're actually going to be interviewing some of Hollywood's hottest actors, writers, showrunners about what they're doing during the quarantine. If you're like us, you're kind of hunkered down. I'm actually currently shooting out of our home here in Los Angeles. We kind of jerry-rigged the studio because we're doing everything we can to stay in touch. But just like you, just like me, actors, writers, producers all across Hollywood are hunkered down in their homes. I'm very excited today. I'm interviewing actor Sean Whalen. If you've seen anything on TV, you've definitely seen Sean. Sean's done everything from comedies to dramas. He's done plenty of horror. He's worked with Ang Lee, Tom Hanks, most recently Seth Rogen and Rob Zombie. Sean Whalen, excited to have you today. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's staying smart, staying safe.
Hope we're staying smart and safe too, Sean, on your end. I'm curious, as just a humble reporter, what is the climate like for actors right now? Like, what have you sensed from your actor friends, and what are you kind of doing on the day-to-day?
Well, for me, I just shot a short film on Thursday that I produced and directed. And then everything obviously got more serious on that Friday. I just talked to my manager yesterday. The town, he said, is exactly like it is during the holidays, during Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, where everything shuts down. The entire city shuts down. There's nothing being done. He said, we should all be working on our scripts right now. Writing and doing that kind of stuff. And most of my friends have all hunkered down. The day before, I was doing looping for The Walking Dead. So
the irony.
The irony, right? I know. It's the new Dead. So, but that's.
Are you watching stuff, Sean? That's what's happening. Are you watching stuff? Are you writing stuff? What are you doing to fill the time?
I have, yes, I'm watching stuff, of course. We're very excited to be watching the new releases like Invisible Man and stuff like that on Friday. Excited to see those. We're definitely going to be watching those. I had to bring my daughter home from Boston. Her university closed. So I had a new type of quarantine that started when she got here on Tuesday. That's kind of 2 weeks waiting to see how she responds. And then what I've been really doing to just keep my creative juices going has been doing TikTok, which has been great. It's a way to, we had a show on my show, Acting Class Weekly with Sean Whalen, about building social media. This is the first social media that really speaks to me. The way it's formatted, I get to be creative. I get to see immediate feedback. Oh, these videos are what people like. These are not. I'm just throwing out a whole bunch of stuff to figure out what's working and what isn't. But I still do some for myself. If I think something's funny, I just film it and throw it on there, even if it doesn't get a lot of views. I have other ones that do, and I'm building followers. I got like 13,000 followers in 3 weeks. I haven't had that on Instagram, and I've been doing that for like 5 years. So it's really, really fun, and people are loving it because I'm one of the big ones is I do called Stories from the Set, kind of what our program is. And I just will tell a specific story under a minute, and people just love to hear that stuff, which is really great. And the funny thing is, all these women are going, I had a big crush on you when I was a kid. And I was like, where were you when I was a lonely bachelor? I mean,
I love it.
Where were you guys?
Oh, that's funny, Sean. I want to ask, it's interesting. In general, acting is not a remote profession. You have to be on set.
Right.
But the audition process has become more and more remote. I'm sure when you started, everything was in person, everything was at casting offices, but, self-tapes have changed the game for actors.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not sending in any self-tapes right now, or are there any offices that are still trying to cast?
I did last week. Yeah, again, last week I did one on Tuesday. I was supposed to go in, and they said no, they didn't want anyone in the office, but I shot one last week. I usually, if you listen to my show, Acting Class Weekly, I usually use my daughter. She couldn't come. So luckily a neighbor who's an actor upstairs, I ran up to his apartment and we shot it and sent it in. But that's it. Like it all ended Friday. All auditions, every production just ended. I
Yeah.
did hear of a couple independent horror guys who I was never a fan of anyway, trying to get their cast in Monday, but people just weren't showing up,
Yeah.
responsible.
Sean, do you think there's a chance, like if this is 1, 2, even 3 month situation, possibly more, do you think you'll start to see self-tape auditions as production companies try to map out productions down the road, or do you think it's going to be a shutdown?
I think it's just such a guessing game, right? We just don't
Yeah.
know what that means. I think if there's some sort of testing that you can do, before you get a job, like they say, anyone who's going to work on this crew and this cast has to do like a swab test, and we know the next day, like no one enters the set if they've been, if they're, then sure. But it's just such a guessing game. We don't know what's going to happen, what the world will come up with to respond to this. That could be an answer, obviously. But that's, I guess, what they were doing in China. Like you wouldn't walk into your apartment building. There was someone there from the government, like swab. And if they had a fever, take your fever. And if you had a fever, they'd get, I don't know how far it's going to get here. So I think that would be the only way, because if not, I just don't think people would risk it.
Yeah. What are you doing to keep your craft sharp? I mean, you mentioned TikTok. Are you doing any kind of exercises, or you always talk about observing human behavior? Speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to go out and see people in I have a big germaphobe friend who has taught me so many tricks because her daughters have congenital heart failure. So she had to learn about germs and stuff. So she taught me all this stuff. And she talked about social distancing and wiping stuff off when you get home and wiping off your phone when you get home and anything that laid on anything. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see people and, the people who are wearing masks versus the people who are not wearing masks. And then, I see very, very old people who you just think, what are you doing out in this grocery store in the midst of all these people? So it's just kind of fascinating. I am kind of tripping out on that, but I think I'm more tripping out that it's really hard to observe anybody now, because you can see anybody out in the world, catching up with old friends. I've been big phone calls with other acting friends. Many are calling me. Danny Roebuck, who was on our show, literally called me 2 minutes before this thing aired. And, but mainly, I think, like I said, my craft wise is just doing fun, silly things with TikTok. But I'm so great because I'm learning directing too, because there's editing them and shooting the right angles and stuff like that. So that's really what's been keeping me sharp, to be really honest.
I love that. I mean, you've got to use what you have. Finally, Sean, last question. What are you watching right now?
We were watching, what did we watch the other night? We're revisiting a lot. We had a list that my girlfriend and I had, and we both showed each other. I showed my girlfriend Waiting for Guffman, and she showed me Dish, because we remember them from long ago. And we both kind of admitted that they didn't hold up as well as we thought they did. But I turned my girlfriend onto my favorite Tim Burton movie, Ed Wood. Which
me too, Sean. That's my favorite as well.
Hands down. He's never been better. I mean, I don't think Tim Burton's ever been better than that. Like Johnny Depp's never been better than that. Like I love it. I just love that film so much. And that held up fantastically. And that was really fun. And then we're really kind of gearing up for the Friday, and we're doing our Love Island Australia edition. So
I love it. You need some of the serious and some of the light as well.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to the big things this weekend. So,
well, quick plug. You mentioned Ed Wood. Great movie. The writers of that movie, Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski, are friends of a sister podcast we have called The Film Scene with Ileana Douglas. I've gotten to interview those guys a couple times. So if you want to hear the inside, they just wrote Dolomite. It's like their resurgence. So if you want to hear more from those guys, the guys who wrote Ed Wood, great writers, check out that interview.
I definitely.
And Sean, check it out. Yeah. And last but not least, Sean, what's next for you? I know we're on hold, but An American Pickle will be coming out at some point this year. Anything else we can look forward to?
I'm going to be a horror movie that I was going to shoot in April called Below. We were going to shoot in Michigan, but that all got shut down. So that got pushed till July. I'm going to be shooting that really. And then I'm kind of ramping up my, I just shot my sketches that I are going to be writing and producing from my students and getting those out there as well. So a few things coming.
Great. And just stay tuned. Of course, Sean, people should be following you on TikTok, I guess is where it is now, but where can they be keeping up? And what else do you want to say to the fans before we get out of here?
Listen, I would like to, you can follow me on most social medias at Sean Whalen Actor. On TikTok, it's at Sean Whalen 19. But I think I want to just say, just stay smart and stay safe, meaning, heed everything. There is no divisiveness now. Everybody's now at the same table, no matter who you are, what you believe. And the real way to do this is just be smart and safe and stay home. Stay home. And they, everyone I've talked to, from birthday crunchy people to doctors, they're all saying, stay home. That's really the only way to beat this thing.
Well, the best thing you should do to stay home right now is stay tuned on this channel, because Sean and I are actually going live again in about 5 minutes for his incredible show, Acting Class Weekly. I'm very lucky to be a producer on that show. And if you guys haven't seen it, it is truly one of the most valuable teaching-oriented application-based shows on YouTube. It's technically, the audience is actors, but we found a ton of writers, artists, even just general fans of entertainment have really embraced the show. That's Acting Class Weekly. It's such an honor to produce Sean on that show. I love it. Stay tuned. You can check it out on this channel or subscribe to the podcast. And Sean, thank you so much for being our first guest on this series. We're really excited about it.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys taking the time.
You got it. Of course. All right, we're out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in to Quarantine with the Stars here on AfterBuzz TV. Stay safe, wash your hands, keep calm, and carry on.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite